Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of DoughJo Setting. Today we're going to do another how-to. A while ago I did a how-to set a Campus Rose 360. So we are going to set the core of that. We're going to set a rose move today. Before we dive in, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm pushing out videos fairly often, so stay up to date on when those are coming out. So let's dive into the rose move. Okay, so to get us into the rose move, I'm just going to just set a couple start holds on. These aren't super important other than you want to make sure that nobody is going to cross into the next hold. You want to make sure that they bump out to the next hold. Now, I'll explain that a little more in just a minute, but let's just pop these on real quick. Okay, so we have our start holds. Now let's add the hold that we are going to rose off of. The most important part of the rose move is making sure that the hold that you're going to rose off of is not matchable. If it's matchable, the rose doesn't work. So, surprise, I'm using a pocket. When you're orienting this, you also want to orient it in a way that's not conducive to matching. So that is to say, if you're putting it as a straight down pull, it makes it a little more doable to get both hands in because you can just sit straight down on it. Now if you start to tilt this, it makes it a lot harder to match. So that's what we like here. When you're mimicking a rose move and you're doing this, pay attention to what your hand is doing. Your hand isn't staying in one position, it's turning. That's the orientation that the hold needs to be in. When you're doing the rose, you need to have the hold be fairly side pull. So this hand's a side pull, so is this hold. This hold is not straight down, it's not Gaston, it's a side pull. So let's add a side pull way out this way. We'll add the feet and make sure it works. When you're adding the next hold, that hold needs to be fairly good because if you're way out like this, you need to be able to pull it back and continue on the route. So I'm going to use a pretty good jug here. So let's add this on. Just to get us into the move from the start holds, I'm just going to plug in a foot here. Okay, so with the feet, you want to give the person a comfortable stance to be able to rose move. What that does in the context of our move, because we are going right hand, rose, crossing under left, you kind of want to have to back step with your left foot. Once you do the rose, you need to have a good foot to shift your weight onto the hold that you're rosing to. That way you can continue on the climb. Let's climb it, let's make it work, and then we'll talk about ways that it would not work. Awesome. So it works. One thing you could do if you wanted to, if we had a deeper unwind jug, we could make that even further out. We might play around with that in a second. Let's talk about ways that it would not work. So the first way would be crossing into this pocket and doing a big iron cross to this hold here. So let's try that. Okay. So that does work. It's a lot harder, but it's a little bit more straightforward than the rose move. So to eliminate that, we are going to move the right hand hold. Oh, that doesn't work. The next thing we need to try is to match that pocket. So the match on the pocket does work. I almost threw up doing it. That's how much I hate matching pockets. What I ended up doing, it's hard to see from back here, I dropped the 3 fingers down to 2 fingers and then mono matched. The little mono match, if you're doing this, you need to stop. Like, you're gonna get hurt. It's just a matter of time. So, but to fix it, we are just going to rotate the hold to be slightly more side pull. So let's do it. It's a lot harder, so that's good. Those are the biggest things to look out for with rose moves. Usually it helps, in my experience, to have this hold be not matchable as well. The reason being is once you do the rose and pull out, I should say, when you try to skip the rose, if you're able to cross into the first hold, if you're able to match it, you're gonna get set into this position and you're not gonna be able to match this to get out of it to continue on the climb. Now that also has a lot to do with where you take the rest of the climb from there. Usually I will do something like, if this is the pocket that you're rosing to, I'm gonna have the next hold be way up here. That way, if you do get into a situation where you're able to cheat it and you're out here, you can't progress on the climb because you should be here to go out this way. So really quick, for those of you still watching, I'm gonna play around with adding a deeper hold to this and moving it further out to really accentuate the rose. So there was the rose move. I hope this helped you guys. Stay tuned, we got a lot more on the way, and we will see you next time.